The year was 1857. America stood at a crossroads, divided by slavery and simmering tensions. But it was one court case, one man's quest for freedom, that would ignite the firestorm that led to civil war. This is the untold story of the Dred Scott Decision, a story of resilience, injustice, and a nation on the brink of destruction. Stay with us as we reveal the twists, turns, and implications of this landmark case. Dred Scott was born into slavery in the late 1700s in Virginia. Like many African Americans of his time, his life was dictated by the whims of his enslavers. But Dred Scott's story wasn't just one of survival, it became a story of defiance. In 1830, he was sold to Dr. John Emerson, a U.S. Army doctor who moved frequently across free and enslaved states, taking Scott with him. This journey would set the stage for one of the most pivotal legal battles in American history. It was during his time in the free territories of Illinois and Wisconsin that Dred Scott began to question his status. Why, he wondered, should a man be enslaved on free soil? This question led him down a long and grueling path toward the courts, a path paved with uncertainty and unimaginable hardship. In 1846, after years of living in free territories, Dred Scott took an extraordinary step. He filed a lawsuit for his freedom and that of his wife, Harriet. Their argument was simple. Since they had lived in free states, they should be free. But what seemed like a clear case quickly turned into a drawn-out legal war that would challenge the very foundations of the United States Constitution. The case began in a Missouri state court. Initially, there was hope. In 1850, a lower court ruled in Scott's favor, recognizing that his time spent in free territories should have secured his freedom. But this victory was short-lived. The Missouri Supreme Court overturned the decision in 1852, declaring that Missouri was not bound by the laws of free states. The battle was far from over. The case eventually reached the U.S. Supreme Court. In 1857, the infamous ruling was handed down. In a 7-2 decision, Chief Justice Roger B. Taney declared that Dred Scott and all African Americans were not citizens of the United States and therefore had no right to sue in federal court. But Taney didn't stop there. He went further, stating that Congress had no authority to prohibit slavery in the territories. This ruling effectively nullified decades of political compromise, from the Missouri Compromise of 1820 to later agreements meant to contain the spread of slavery. The verdict sent shockwaves across the nation, reinforcing the power of Southern slaveholders and enraging Northern abolitionists. For African Americans, the message was clear. The law offered no protection. The very institutions meant to uphold justice had declared that they had no rights at all. This was not just a legal defeat, it was a moral catastrophe. The fallout from the Dred Scott decision was immediate and explosive. Abolitionists were outraged, seeing the ruling as an endorsement of slavery's expansion. The North grew more determined to resist, while the South felt emboldened. The political landscape fractured as figures like Frederick Douglass denounced the decision, calling it monstrous and proof of a broken system. Meanwhile, future President Abraham Lincoln rose to national prominence as he fiercely opposed the court's decision, arguing that it contradicted the principles of the Declaration of Independence. The Dred Scott ruling didn't just deepen the division, it made war seem inevitable. Dred Scott did not live to see the end of slavery or the passage of the 14th Amendment, which finally overturned the Supreme Court's decision by granting citizenship to all people born or naturalized in the United States. But his legacy endures. His fight for justice exposed the deep contradictions of a nation that claimed liberty while perpetuating bondage. The Dred Scott case became a painful but necessary reminder of what happens when justice is denied. His story has been passed down for generations, a symbol of resilience and the need to stand against injustice, no matter how insurmountable the odds. The Dred Scott Decision may have been one of the darkest moments in American legal history, but it also became a catalyst for change. It taught a nation hard lessons about the meaning of citizenship, equality, and justice. In remembering Dred Scott's story, we honor his resilience and recommit to the fight for justice, a fight that continues today. Subscribe for more historical deep dives and stories that shaped our world. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. In memory of Dred and Harriet Scott, history remembered, justice pursued.